Hello again, everybody. This is Derek, and I'm coming back at you with another Wargaming in Miniature video. Okay, you see these two pieces of yarn. I put one here, and I put one there. That represents the difficult ground. Everything in between is difficult ground because the Germans had flooded the area, right? And so this is actually all water, maybe 6 feet deep. So the men can cross it, but it's very slow going. So it's just treated as difficult ground. All right. So the Americans, now this is like a raised ground. So like ground goes down and then of course it comes back up. And that's why the water settles in there. There's actually a river that runs right through there. So there should be like a little bridge right here. But it's the Meredith River. But because there's no difference, the river basically disappeared because of the flooding covered, the river was underwater. That makes sense. Okay. So there's no real need to represent a river on the table. It's just, it's there, but it's under the water, you wouldn't see it. Okay, so this area here is a raised road. It's a causeway. So it is not covered in water. So this is and this little hill, this little patch of dirt is actually above the water. So this all right there is above the water and not difficult ground. But as you can see, that's just a narrow highway. That's not going to be much of anything. All right, so we've got our built-up area here, which is the main village, and then you got the church over here, which had its cemetery and all that jazz in there as well. There's an orchard back here. Can you see it? Yeah, okay. There's an orchard back here. And then there's a bunch of fields. I didn't get finished making my fields. There's a gray one, or a unfinished one, and there's an unfinished one right there. I want to point something out. I was working so fast last night that this road, I had finished it. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Yeah, I had finished it, but I finished it on the wrong side. So I either need to do both sides as an experiment to see if that's a feasible thing, or create a new one. I'm going to do it on both sides now just to see if that's a feasible thing, and if it is, that means I could some of these turns and intersections, if I could do them on both sides, then I can just flip it and use it whenever I need it. Okay, so now these bocage, there's a few pieces of bocage here and there, and then there's a couple of pieces there that could very well, and here, which could impact spotting and cover and stuff like that. I should say the battalion commanders, because they're considered off table, and this is just a representation of the battalion commander. Normally you put your battalion commander on your table edge. So I'm just going to put him right there. He's actually on camera. and I'm going to give him 2 orders. Now this camera got positioned in a way where I'm not going to be able to reach much over there, which is fine. I'm also going to have to play this game using 2 hats, right? I'm going to have to have a dual personality where I'm thinking as the German player and then I'm thinking as the American player. So yeah, I'll just have to figure it out. Now the Germans are going to get 2 artillery fire missions. So we're going to place those over here in front of the battalion commander, so that when I use them, I'll pull them off the map. Now, the American battalion commander, I kind of want to put over here out of the way, just out of the way. But I'm going to put him right here, and I'm going to give him 3 orders. Now, the Americans are going to have 3 fire missions represented by these 3 pack howitzers. Both the Germans and the Americans have mortars included, so I'm going to represent those by just putting them back here. Now these guys technically are always off the map. The Germans also have mortars, so I'm putting them over here at the end of the road. It's really just a marker to remind me it's not necessary. Okay. The Germans also have a roadblock. This is a R-35, which is a very tiny French tank. There was a push. This is the 3rd day of the battle, if I remember right. I'm going completely 100% off of memory. It's the 3rd day of the battle, and in the 1st day, there was an American bazooka team that knocked out a tank. But the Germans get to place it anywhere up to, I don't know where. I'm going to say anywhere behind the difficult terrain as a roadblock. Place a roadblock right there. It's a tank blocking the road. So basically, it's not alive. It's not functional or anything like that. The Germans have an FO, and they've got their 3 companies, which I've downscaled it, and we're going to call these platoons. And then each of the platoons we're going to call squads. So we've got 3 platoons making up the company, which in O group it's an actual battalion. In this hypothetical, it's going to be platoons of a company. So they get their FO. They also get their 3 machine guns and a Panzerschreck. Now each of these, now I might call them a company, I might call them a platoon. Just understand that in O group they're a company, but in today's battle they're going to be platoons. But none of the rules are going to change. They're basically going to be exactly going to be the same. each platoon will have 3 squads of 3 bases, plus a company commander, platoon commander, plus the 3 combat patrols. They should all 3 be exactly the same. So that's the German forces. Normally I would put them off table. But we're not going to do that. All right, now the Americans are a little bit different. Yeah, the Americans are going to be a little bit different. And I didn't build this American force for this battle. I built it as a battalion in O Group. So, but we're going to use them to represent what I need them to represent. We've got our 2 platoons of paratroopers, and then this final platoon is actually, or is going to be my glider troops, which only has 2 squads, and I'm going to include 2 60mm mortars and the 3 medium machine guns. So that you can already see they're a little forced compared to the Germans. But they do have a Sherman. Okay, so that might be an equalizer. I don't know. So historically, these are elements of the 10, I want to say 85th, but it might be 1058th, 3rd Battalion. No, maybe not 3rd Battalion. 2nd Battalion? I don't remember. But basically, they're German grenadiers from an 91st Air Landing Division. These guys are 82nd Airborne. They've been on the ground fighting for a few days now. I think it's the 9th. I think it's the 9th of June. Both sides are going to get 9 dice for orders. Germans have something called a rate of fire, and the U.S. have something called marching fire. And we'll talk about that here in just a second. Right. So I'm giving these guys veteran status, where I'm giving them regular status. Mainly because they're paratroopers, they're supposed to be elite and all that. And it'll hopefully be an equalizer. So you get 9 dice. Now both players can roll these simultaneously, but because I'm only one person, actually I can do it simultaneously. But they're different colors. Okay, so there's the 9 dice. Per player. There we go. Defender scores of 1. Each score of 1 rolled by the defender equates to a number of game turns that his reserve deployments are interdicted or disrupted. For example, if you roll just 1 score of 1, then the interdiction lasts for 1 turn. Right. Okay. So I'm going to use a meg die, and I'm going to put it over here next to my battalion commander, letting me know that he's got an interdiction. He didn't roll any ones, but it doesn't matter. I'm working with the defender. Five and 6. Deploy one ambush unit behind the forward defense line. Okay, just so you know, the table is set up into 3 zones. You got 1 platoon north, 1 platoon south, and then 1 platoon in reserve in the center. But I'm going to take one of this platoon's troops, ambush out of that town sector. I'm going to ambush with the northern platoons in the church and the bocage. Just so you know, even though they would know. So what I'll do is, as a reminder to me, I'm going to put a marker where I'm planning on doing these ambushes from. Okay. That's these 3. And 2 through 4 is deploy 1 combat patrol, 1 extra ambush if I have a FO. Okay. Which I do. I can't read. Again, 2 through 4, deploy 1 combat patrol. I hate to put 2 combat patrols right on top of each other, but I do kind of want to concentrate my firepower right there. I'm playing from one side, so I'm having a hard time reaching everything. So is that my 4 combat patrols? It is. Okay. Wait. I should have 5. Okay. Because there's 2s through 4s. There was 5 of them. Okay, so 1 more. Okay, because that guy's off table and nobody really knows he's there. So I'm gonna put a combat patrol there. Okay. Okay, I skipped a whole section. Before I get to the Americans' roles, I'm going to go back a step. Deploy headquarters. Both players deploy their battalion headquarters. Okay. Attacking headquarters start with 3 headquarter orders. Defending headquarters start with 2. Battalion mortars are considered off table. Okay. Deploy company commanders. Both players deploy their on-table company commanders. Okay, so the Americans only have 2 because the gliders are actually, they come in later. Defending come in. Okay, both players deploy their on-table company commanders. Defenders deploy first. Attacking commanders then deploy behind their start line within their assigned sector. Commanders in reserve remain off table. I'm going to deploy him in the church. And I'm going to deploy this guy behind. Yeah. I think I've changed my mind. I'm going to deploy him right there. All right. Okay, 5s and 6s. 2s through 4s. No 1s. If I had rolled any 1s, I would have caused damage to the Germans. Which is interesting. Okay, so 2 through 4 is combat patrols, but 5s and 6s is units. So I have to deploy 5 units. Okay, so I get 5 units. Well, 4 up to 9. Maximum of 5 can be on table. Okay, that's these 3. Now, because I don't have any more combat patrols, I have to deploy units. I think I want to overwhelm the right side. And there's 3. So as we speak right now, this company has all 3 units deployed and 3 combat patrols. There's absolutely no reason to do that. Okay, so I have my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there we go. Okay, I think that is initial deployment. Now, we have reserves on both sides. I don't know how long it's taken us to get to this point. Almost 2 hours. All right. I think we're ready. This would be normally done simultaneously. I got a triple 1. I'm going to mark either the north or the south company as hesitant. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So this company is hesitant. Scores of 1 generate no orders. But a triple 1, they call it treble 1, but it's triple 1. Any triple 1 company hesitant, during your turn, your companies are restricted to issuing only 2 actions. These are fire or rally. 2 through 5, which is all the rest of these, 6, would be 6 company command orders. Did not get triple 1s, but I did get 2 1s. That's basically no orders. But I did get a 6. That means the headquarters gets an extra command. I'm going to move this battalion closer because I know I'm going to be using it quite a bit. So they're up to 3. We got our orders. Now we need to roll for initiative. And you roll 2 dice and you get to add your battalion commander's orders to this roll. But since they're both 3s, I'm just not going to add anything. We're just going to go with a straight roll. Germans got a 3, and the Americans got a 4. Okay, now before we well, the Americans are going to take the initiative. They're going to go first. But I wanted to refresh my memory on the abilities. US, they have something called marching fire. US infantry may fire at full effect when moving and firing, but limited to moving 2 dice and taking the higher score. So that's the same as everybody else. But instead of getting a -2 dice for moving and shooting, they get all of their dice. To use marching fire, the platoon must be able to see the target at the beginning of its move. Okay. Medium machine guns and mortars cannot fire using this action, and no rerolls are permitted. Okay, so that's because of the BARs or the M1 Garands. Now the Germans have the MG42. They get an extra hit for every double 6. Okay. Now, because the Americans won and they decided to keep the initiative, that actually gives them an extra order die. If you win the initiative, and instead of passing the initiative on, you gain an extra die. You gain an extra order. The Germans have this ability to win ties. If they win the tie and they keep the order, they don't get the extra order. Okay, they're hesitant, so they can't move. They can only shoot. They have a mortar. All I see is combat patrols. The FO's in ambush is not actually on the table. I could shoot and try to destroy a combat patrol. Rough terrain, here we go. Infantry, no effect. Yeah, this terrain is impassable to vehicles. Infantry treat this as rough or is impassable to both infantry and vehicle. This includes dense woods or... Those guys are all hesitant. I've decided to shoot this mortar at that combat patrol. So I'm going to get 3 dice, but I need a spotting die. It's 4 or better to hit. But to spot, I need to roll a 4 or better as well. So here we go. Well, I think combat patrols have something a little different. I guess it would be 1 hit, no spot. Here we go. That's morale test if spotted or not spotted. Okay, where does it say what you need to roll to spot? Roll for spotting dice if target is 4+ is spotted. Okay, so he's not spotted. So he gets an improved morale. Combat patrols always roll on a 3 or better, spotted or otherwise. They're always considered obscured, so I didn't even need to roll that. Okay, so he gets hit, and then he needs a 3 or better to pass. And he does. Okay, so he ignores that. So that's one there. Okay, we're going to call mortars. Okay, there's 30 inches, so, yep. My aim point is going to be right in between those two guys. Oh, if you're over 30 inches, you just get a -1 to accuracy. Okay. Two, roll for accuracy. 3, roll for hits. Okay, accuracy is a 2-die roll. Same as last turn, you get a plus. Spotter is a commander or recon, you get a minus. Okay, so accuracy of 5 is harassing. If I rolled a 2 or less, roll 3 dice and move the aim point towards the nearest friendly. Battalion mortars, any roll of 4 or less is low on ammo. And I wish this chart gave what page or what chapter to find all that in. Harassing. The majority of rounds are dropped close to the target area. Targets use the harassing morale test line. So it's 3+ to save. Okay. I'm figuring it out. 3+ to save. Battalion mortars. They roll 5 dice. And their radius is 4 inches. So I already know that both of those guys are within like 1.5 inches. So they're within the 4 inches, so they're both hit. Once the accuracy is obtained, the firepower dice are rolled against each target, either partially or completely in. Conduct a separate attack on each target. So 5 dice against the top one. That's horrible. What did I need? 4. 4s are better to do any damage, and I didn't roll 1 4. Wow. Okay. And then this guy. Okay, we got 3 hits. So he needs to roll 3, we'll call them saves, but they're morale. And I need 3s or better because it's harassing. Okay, we got 2 good, but we failed 1. So that means he would normally take a shock, but because he's a combat patrol, he doesn't take shock, he gets eliminated. Which isn't really eliminated, it's just removed from the table. Okay, so that was my mortars, but was it? These 2 orders battalion mortars done. I still have 4 orders. Now I can hold on to these orders and use them as a reaction, but there's zero need to do that. We're going to move this infantry forward 2 inches. Oh goodness. This combat patrol is going to try to take the road. Seven inches. The Germans don't want to initiate an ambush. They've got 6 orders. We can see troops either in the woods or out in the open. I don't want to use my divisional artillery just yet, so we'll use battalion mortars. I just want to see if they are within 30 inches. They are not. So I'm going to get a -1 on my accuracy. See, I'm picking up on this. And because it's battalion mortars, they have to use 2 orders for that. Okay, roll 2 dice. -1 because it's over 30 inches. Okay, I rolled a 10, which becomes a 9, which means they're zeroed in. Battalion mortars have a 4-inch radii. Yep, so everybody here plus that one guy at the end. Roll for accuracy, roll for hits. I get 5 dice per. So let's do it this way. 5 dice. Looking for 4s or better. And they're in the open. That's okay. So let's start with the combat patrol. 1, 2, 3. I need 3 saves of 3 or better. Hey, they're good. The next guy up. Four hits. I need 4s or better. Oh, wait. You don't roll for each individual stand. You roll for the unit. Okay. That's right. They're suppressed. Okay, so I not only have beads, but I've also got blasts in here. Oh, sweet. Okay, so I can use these as suppression markers. I was going to put 3 beads on them to represent suppression. But that other unit is also hit. And and that's 5 dice. No 4s. Okay, so that unit didn't take any damage. Okay. So that was 2 orders. FO calling in battalion mortars. Other than that, I don't really have anything else that I want to do. Okay, so we're just going to end it. Then the regroup phase, regroup actions. Attackers get 2 actions. The defenders get 1 action. Units that have not received orders this turn may move 2 dice or 3d6 rally or deploy on a combat patrol. Move a unit or combat patrol. This includes units cannot move within 8 inches, rally. A unit which undertook no action may rally. Deploy. I could deploy units onto a combat patrol or re-squatting. Okay, so if you took no action, what if you're hesitant? I don't think that applies. I don't think you can give them a move action. Okay, they were given, all these guys were given actions. And those guys are all hesitant. I would love to rally them, but I gave them an action. So crap, I can't really consolidate. Or do the... We'll go back to the beginning with our 9 dice for each side. And we'll see what we get out of these. After I've played this a few times, I'm sure all these die rolls will become second nature. Right? Like what I'm looking at right here. 1 is no orders. No order. A 6 is headquarters orders. And then the rest is just company orders. So that's pretty straightforward. Okay, battalion's getting 2 orders. So from 3 going up to 5. He's going to get 6 orders, which I have right there. Okay. No orders. Also, 2 orders. This time only 5. Five orders. That brings this battalion up to 5. Again, they're tied. So the initiative will be the same. So no plus, no minus. The Germans win the initiative this time with a 5. And so they're going to, I don't know if they're going to take the initiative or, yeah, I guess they're going to, why not take the initiative and get that extra order? All right, so then we go to the combat phase, they are starting. Now, because they're calling in battalion mortars on the exact same spot, that's only one order. It's over 30 inches, so it's -1. But I'm going to be able to hit the combat patrol and both platoons. So roll for accuracy. It's 2 dice -1. No, same aim point as last turn is +1. So now it's even up. I roll a 4, that's not good. An unmodified score or 4 or less means the mortars are low on ammo. The interdiction comes off and the hesitant comes off. Right, because they're not interdicted anymore. That was only one turn, and they're not hesitant, but now they're low on ammo. And it's also considered harassing. Okay. So 5 dice, looking for 4s on the combat patrol. I got 1 hit, and because combat patrols are always considered obscured / harassing, they just need a 3 or better. They succeed. Now, the suppressed unit received 1 hit, so he needs to roll, because it's harassing, he needs to roll a 3 or better. He's a veteran, 3 or better. He passed. That's good. The guy in the woods receives 3 hits, but because it's harassing, he needs a 3 or better. Passed 1 of them, failed on 2 of them. Okay, so 2 shock. I guess he's going to pass. So we go to this side. Got 5 orders. I don't want to leave those guys suppressed, because any more shock on them equates to possibly casualties. But I am going to move this combat patrol down the road 5 inches. Roads don't give infantry a bonus in movement like they do for armor. He's gonna wade 2 inches. I rolled a 2. Oh my goodness. This guy's gonna run because he's trying to get out of the area. 9 inches, that's good. That way he won't get blasted by that mortar. I don't think the FO calling for fire reveals his ambush position. Doesn't seem logical. I'm doing it. I'm giving him an order. We're gonna roll 3 dice. And I got 2 rallies. So he's no longer suppressed. And he does have 1 shock. Okay. I got 1 more order. And I think I've changed my mind. We're just going to go 2 dice as rough terrain, like O Group says, for infantry. So really that area is just open area. That didn't work. Okay, 7 inches. Now, I could move 5 inches and fire at full effect, but not with the mortar. So I'll just move 7 inches. I'm trying to do one of these numbers, but I don't know if that's necessary to get full firepower. Okay, and now I prematurely pulled the orders off last turn, not realizing that part of the consolidation phase or the regroup phase relies on what units have been issued orders and which ones haven't. Okay, it's almost 2 o'clock, which is almost 3 hours, which is really only about 2 hours of gameplay. But I don't know what I'm doing, so there is that. Okay, the turn's over because I don't want to. I can't or don't unable to issue any additional orders. That's not really true. That's not true at all. Deploy 1 reserve infantry gun on a combat patrol, or deploy a reserve platoon. Regroup phase. I'm going to do something a little crazy, and I'm going to move this combat patrol out. Ten inches. Now you cannot get within 8 inches. Oh, which he is. He's at 8 inches. But that's going to prevent this guy from advancing any closer because he's in the way. Now these guys, I'm going to use one of those rallies to rally this guy because he didn't receive any orders. And we're going to use 3 dice, looking for 3s or better. And I got 2. Which means he gets rid of these. And the second one is going to be moving that combat patrol 5 inches. Okay. So that was my, I'm going to call it consolidation, but really it's called the regroup phase. So now we can pick up our orders. Now he's 5. He's also a 5. So we're at even up. Even up. No orders. No orders. +1 each. The reason why it's +1 each is because you can't go more than 6. So he's at 6. Bring him over here so I don't have to keep walking over there. He's also at 6. So that's all these dice. Germans get 6. Americans get 7. Here are their 6. Now we go for initiative. And again, because we're both at the same battalion orders, 6 and 6, there's no pluses. Americans get a 6, Germans get an 8. So the Germans are going to take the initiative and get their extra order. So I'm thinking this FO is going to call, doesn't really matter because he's still online with pretty much everybody over here. I think I'm going to call artillery Okay, artillery says something about aim point is a section at over 30 inches. Yeah, so if it's not a section, I don't think you get a minus to accuracy. So he's going to call it at the tip of that woods so that he can get both of those, but he's not calling in the mortars. Okay, 2 actions on the FO. Okay, no modifiers to the accuracy. So it's just a 2-die roll. Six, which is harassing. Now, artillery, you have to determine which type of artillery it is. I have to decide if I wanted regimental or divisional. I'm going to say regimental just because I don't know what I'm doing. It's a 2-die roll. And I rolled a 6. British FO company commander, all other battalions, battalion mortars. The problem with that is the battalion mortars are low on ammo. So what does that mean? Okay, you can use your battalion mortars instead, no extra order cost. This does not use your artillery mission. Low on ammunition. Any unmodified score of 4 or less, the battalion mortars sees them running low on ammunition. No further mortar attacks may be made until the mortars are replenished. A player uses 1 order to replenish mortar. Replenish takes 1 turn. Okay, so basically that just canceled out his orders. He gets battalion mortars, but he can't use them because they're low on ammo. Interesting. Okay. So I should have replenished the mortars for one action. I think I'm going to do the same thing with this combat patrol. I'm going to move it forward. For 10 inches. That's pretty good. So that's one. I'm going to do the same over there because I'm trying to block that other combat patrol. 7 inches. I'm going to move this guy forward. See, I'm realizing that the combat patrols don't need cover because they already get obscured. Okay, bocage. Tanks. Infantry crosses 2 dice and takes the lower score. Okay. See, that's what I was thinking that this was going to be. Takes the lower score. Okay. 4. That's all I want to do. I'm going to save those. Maybe as an ambush. All right, so the Americans see all these combat patrols coming out. I might not have. Oh, okay, well, I've got my ambush units. Okay, all right. If I kill the combat patrol or kill the combat patrol, then my combat patrol can advance. Italian mortars. Was going to pop smoke, but I like in front of that FO. But I think I'm going to call it right between those two combat patrols. Rolling for accuracy, I got an 8, which is zeroed in. But it doesn't matter because they're combat patrols. So 5 dice on this guy gives me 3 hits, 3 saves of 3 or better. There you go, he made all 3 of them. 4 or better on this guy. 2 hits, 3 or better. Failed 1, so he's eliminated. Because they don't hold shock. I'm going to advance with this combat patrol. Six inches. These guys are going to move and shoot at this combat patrol. So I'm going to roll 2 dice. We're going to move, 5 inches and shoot with no penalty? Is that right? I think that's right. Everybody is well within range. I get 6 dice because the mortars don't get to add their die on a move and shoot. No rerolls. Just looking for 4s or better. I got 3. He needs 3 to save. He didn't save all of them, so now because they had moved and shot and did their order, I am going to react with this platoon right here. It's 3 infantry, but it also has a machine gun attachment. And I had saved an order to do this. Machine gun is well within 18 inches. Now the question I have is, do I get to re-roll even if the infantry's out of range? Oh, attached machine guns are restricted to rifle section ranges. Well, that answers that question. Once attached, a 60mm mortar section permits 1 reroll for a platoon miss. Okay. So this gives them a reroll. Interesting. So it's not as good as a machine gun, but the machine guns I'm not using because it's attached. It doesn't use the machine gun ranges. It uses the rifle range. Now the question is, because this and this are raised and this is down, are they considered elevated? And if they are, do they get the elevated range? They probably should. All right, so reactions. Fire enemy unit who finished his opportunity. Yeah, so infantry have to roll a 4 or better to be allowed to shoot. But what about ambush? I'm glad I'm doing this little game here before I do a boot camp, because I don't want to do a boot camp without knowing the rules. Reacting with ambush units. Ambush units may spring an ambush under this. Okay, so ambush are basically, all it is saying is you're deploying a hidden unit, but you still have to react. You don't get like a free shot just because you're in ambush. Oh, okay, hold on. I don't have to roll because I'm not shooting opportunity fire. All it says is reacting with ambush units. Ambush units may spring an ambush under this action. Okay, so you still have to cost 1 action to do it, which I did. We're going to roll 6 dice with 3 rerolls. And because I waited for him to finish moving, it's not a opportunity fire, it's a reaction fire. So here we go. Always looking for a 4 or better. There's 2 hits. And I get to re-roll 3 of them. And with 2 6s, I get 1 additional hit because I'm MD42s. So there's 5 hits on these guys. Because they're in the open, they're requiring a 4 or better to save. That's regularly a regular unit. These guys are veteran. Yeah, so I gotta roll 4s or better to save 5 hits. Save 3, so they take 2 hits. I don't want to do a ambush on a combat patrol. It just feels dirty. Now I could do that with these guys because 1 shock does not prevent them from moving. So I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do go to a little bit to the left there. Also 5 inches. 1 shot gives them like a -1 to hit, -1 firepower. Now that this area is kind of cleared out, I think I want to move this guy forward. 8 inches. Now, combat patrols cannot get within, or they have to stop when they get within 8 inches of the enemy. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to call that. Now we're going to go to regroup phase. 2 dice 6 or rally or deploy a combat patrol. Okay, so the Germans are going to deploy a combat patrol. Right there. All right. The Americans, they have not been given an order. They can move or rally. All the ones that need to rally have already moved. So I'm going to move him. Eight inches. Basically means I have to stop when I get there. And I think I'm going to move him too. 7 inches. Okay. That's the end of the turn. I think this is only turn 3, maybe 4. I can convert those into company orders. Okay, we're going to have to see if I can convert those into company orders. Okay, they automatically convert into company orders. Okay. So he gets 7. No. 7. He gets 6. Americans get the initiative. They get their extra order. Trying to decide if I want to do regimental or divisional. -1 chance. Get a mission, but it's better to get. Yeah, we're going to go divisional. We're going to go big. So we're rolling for divisional, 2 dice divisional. I rolled a 7. British in the US. It's an FO. You get a medium battery mission. Okay, so it's a medium battery. Now I'm going to roll for accuracy. No modifiers. 6. Harassing. Okay. Medium battery has a 5-inch range, but it doesn't matter. Maybe there is a matter. Nah, he's out of range. Okay, so just those guys. Medium batteries get 7 dice. We're looking for a 4 or better. Artillery hits on a 4 better, and then it says -1d6 in buildings. Okay, so we'll knock one of those off. Following a regimental or divisional attack, all units in open or cover. In open cover? Get that open cover. Must retreat or take 1 additional shock to stay in position. Okay, well, we'll figure that out after I get this. 3 hits, no 6s. That means I'm going to get 3 saves. Because it's harassing, I only have to make a 3 or better. I saved all of them, so now it's important. Okay, it just says in fine print, all units in open cover must retreat. So I guess that means everything, open or cover, it doesn't matter. Okay, so we did no shock, right? Because they made all their saves, but they can take, well, first of all, I'm going to remove one of these gun models representing that. And if they take a shock, it doesn't say they get to save it or anything. It's not a hit, it's an actual shock. So we're going to take a shock on them because they don't want to fall back. And that's the Americans starting their turn. I think I'm just going to use a command to deploy a squad and a machine gun on this combat patrol. Now I can move and shoot, or I could just shoot. That's what we're going to do. We're just going to shoot, and I'm going to shoot these guys. That action. Okay. So I get 6 dice from the machine gun and 3 rerolls. 2 hits. 2 more hits. And a spotting die. 4 or better, they're spotted. They're spotted. So that means they need to roll 4 or better to save. They saved 1. That means they're going to take 3 shock, which basically is suppressed. They have an excess shock, which you don't ever mark, but you roll to see if that kills something. 1 KIA roll. Why don't you put that on there? Okay, score of 5 or 6 is 1 KIA. 1 to 4 is no effect. Okay, so a 5 or a 6 will KIA something. Okay, well, at least we got them suppressed, which means they're not going to be able to shoot me. Okay, I can rally them with my consolidation. I don't have to rally them now, but if I do place an order to rally, I still get to move them, right? Rally. Rally 1 shock and either fire or move. Or 3 dice 6 rally. Yeah, 3 dice if you don't move and 1 die if you do move. I think I'm going to deploy off of this unit here. Eight inches. Which is not really close combat because the combat patrols can't be within 8 inches. But I'm going to do a moving fire because I can. And I'm just going to open up on that combat patrol. And because it's close, there should be a bonus, right? Close range, 1d6 extra. Oh, you only get -1 if you move and fire. Everybody was saying 2 on videos. Okay, but either way, I'm going to roll these dice on that combat patrol, looking for a 4 or better to hit. Those are all hits. Nope. Those are all hits. And I have to roll a 3 or better to save. I save all but 1, and 1 is enough to eliminate him. Okay, so now as a reaction, I'm going to spend an action. This guy doesn't know what's happening, but I'm going to spend an action to deploy that ambush unit. And I don't have to roll to shoot because I waited for him to finish his turn. If I had tried to interrupt him, then you gotta roll. But since I'm not interrupting, there it is. He's gonna roll his 6 dice for a machine gun with 3 rerolls. Wow, 1 hit. Okay, here's the 3 rerolls. Look at that, 2 6s and a hit converts 1 more to another hit because it's a machine gun. Now these guys are in the open, so they're looking for 4s or better to save. What the heck? Okay, so 2 hits. Okay. Interesting. Okay, this infantry over here, because the Americans are the ones doing their actions. This infantry over here is going to advance and shoot on that combat patrol. That's the plan, anyway. I can move 5 inches. And then hopefully I'll be within 14-inch range, which I think I will be. Oh yeah, easy peasy. He's in the open, so I don't have to make a spotting die roll. I can just take my 6 dice and roll. 4s or better. 3 hits. See if we can get 3 saves of 3 or better. Yes, no effect. Okay, I'm going to spend my last point to bring in the tank. Standard AFE is 2 dice 6 plus 2 on roads. Use 3 dice 6. All vehicles use 3 dice 6. Okay. So the tank will move 12. All right. Now, I should replenish those mortars, but I'm not going to. I'm going to use artillery on those guys. And I'm going to call in the big guns. It'll be divisional. And I rolled a 7. Wait. US gets a mission. British get a mission. But if I was using a company commander and all other battalions as per a 6 or less, and a 6 or less says It's the radios, sir. We still haven't been able to make contact. No support received. Man, does that blow or what? Okay. We are going to rally. I want to do it now. Oh, I don't know if I want to do it now. I'm not going to do it now. I'm going to deploy the squad right there. And they are going to shoot those guys. One, two, three, four, five, six. Looking for fours or better. I got 2 hits, which effectively counts as an extra hit. And then I get my 3 rerolls. Got another hit. So the Americans have to make saves on a 4 or better. That's everything. Okay, so they didn't take any damage. Wow. We're going to do the same thing with the other ambush unit. We're going to shoot from these guys. Six dice. 3 rerolls. All that good stuff. 4s or better. There's 3 hits. 3 rerolls. That counts as a 6 if my mind serves me correctly. So that gives me an extra hit. I need 4s or better to save. This isn't looking good for the home team. Three hits. So we'll put a suppression. And with 2 extra, that automatically causes a casualty. And there's something about attached weapons. Roll a d6, 1 or a 2. The support weapon is what's killed. Nope. This guy. Okay, first actual real casualty. I'm going to put him right here in the field. He's dead. And that unit's suppressed. I still have 2 orders. You know, I think I'm going to do it. Just because I'm mean like that. So we're going to deploy out here in the... No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. We're going to deploy a combat patrol. Is it 14 inches? Deploy a combat patrol behind cover. And then on a future turn, I'll deploy infantry on that combat patrol. One more order. I think they as well is going to deploy a combat patrol. So everybody used all their orders. We'll go to some consolidation. I knew I was going to be rolling on these guys. 4s or better. That's not a die. Okay. So 1. This guy's going to roll on those guys. And these guys probably. But those guys, Oh, if they received an order, they can't roll. So these guys, 1. And it could be also a move. So we're going to move these guys 5 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it right here. It's interesting. Let's do a little quick after action review because it would have gone a little bit faster early on if I wasn't moving so slow, or if I wasn't kind of just limping around. If I was actually like pedal to the metal, you probably could have got another couple of turns in easily. Changing the idea from 2 dice, take the lowest one, to just rolling 2 dice, just like they're crossing the field, that was fine. I didn't try any rapid advances. Rapid advances are 3 dice and use the highest 2. Reroll any 1s. So units with 2 shock cannot move closer to the enemy. Now that some troops, the ambush has been revealed, they're starting to take damage. These guys are going to be able to press on. That's not going to be too much of an issue. These 2 guys are pretty much going to be able to move on. This guy's going to deploy a squad. So there's this combat patrol, and these combat patrols are really not going to do any good. I mean, there's nothing out there. Plus, I haven't brought in any of my reserves. I'm relying on these orders. I think I shouldn't use artillery every turn. I think I should use it to bring on troops and get things flowing. This is just me thinking out loud. Battalion mortars and the artillery, they're all well and good. Now, this might be a great spot for some smoke, right? Now would be a good time to start considering those things. But early on, I should have just been moving my combat patrols forward. And maybe even used rapid movement. Should have brought on my additional support because I've got the gliders. They could have came in. Deploy it if I'm not needing to advance, like with the Germans. I probably could have just deployed infantry, and just started shooting. Okay, I think I learned a lesson in this scenario anyway. Just move as fast as you can. When you get within 8 inches, then deploy your infantry. Having that hesitant company at the very beginning did kind of slow down what was going on over there, but not by a whole lot. I don't know how I got a unit so far forward. Yeah, I was going to say, what wasn't there a German combat patrol there? There was. So I think I might have deployed the infantry here and moved up and shot. I think that's. And when you can deploy a combat patrol 18 inches from a company commander, there's no real need to have your company commanders on the front rank. If you're going to be firing with artillery, you can only do artillery or mortars once per turn. And so if you have an FO, which both sides do, then he's the one that's going to be calling the artillery. There's no need to have your company commanders on the front rank. And I never even had an opportunity to bring in the third platoon. But what I was trying to get at is this a viable game system to use at a lower scale? And it seems like it is. I saw what tokens I needed. I saw what markers I needed, like low on ammo, hesitant, interdicted. I think that system works. I think the shock and suppressed works. I think the dice for orders works. The only other tokens I need are these colored dice that I'm using from my Meg set to represent interdicted or low on ammo or hesitant. Yeah, so I think all the markers I was using work just fine. All right, guys, we're going to call it quits right here. I'm not going to continue this battle. I'm going to spend an hour or so cleaning everything up. Again, it's like super late. So I'll catch you in the next one.